people log in and stuff, and they would join us and stuff as we're going. Why don't we do a roundtable of introductions? Do you want to start, Janet?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on the call, and it's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Janet Jakes, and I've known Cal a long time. I was thinking, Cal, maybe 20 years, 15 years? I don't know.
Yes, it's around 1992 or so.
Was it? Good
Yeah.
memory, yeah. So long time. And so when Cal asked me to do this, I said, absolutely. And so it's a pleasure to be here with you today, although virtual. I am the director of, they call it talent and culture, which is really a human resources function at a hotel in Calgary called the Fairmont Palliser Hotel. Has anyone heard of that hotel before? Yeah, okay, good. So that's where I work. And that's what I do. I look after the employees that work there. We call them colleagues. I look after the colleagues there. And what I mean by looking after them is everything from hiring. Obviously, it's important to have the right people in the jobs. And then once they're in, orienting them to the company and to the building. And then I look after training. So giving them the training that they need, health and safety. Recognition is really important. So making sure we recognize them. Staff events like Christmas parties and summer picnics, organize those. And performance feedback, so telling them how they're doing. And then just anything basically that has to do with the employees, so how they're paid, when they're paid, that kind of thing. And I've been doing that for a very long time. I've been there for 36 years. At the end of this month, it'll be 36 years that I've been there. So that's a very long time. And a lot of people say, well, why have you been there so long? And so the reason I have is because I really am passionate about what I do. I really enjoy, obviously, working for the company. And I really enjoy the people that I work with. And we've really become a family. I call it a work family. And so we really, they've become a group of people that I really care about. And so it doesn't feel like work going there every day. It really just feels like a pleasure to be able to go and make a difference every day. So that's kind of me and what I do and where I work. And so I kind of don't mind sharing, whatever I know that might help you out in terms of understanding a little bit about the hotel business.
Cool. Next one, what do we do, Eric? Do you want to introduce yourself, Eric?
Cal, I just got to plug in my laptop. The battery's running low. I'm just going to go grab it.
Okay, thanks. Linda, how about yourself?
Hang on a sec.
Just takes me a minute to unmute.
To unmute, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a DSP working for Realm here in Cranbrook.
Yeah.
And I support Donna, and she was interested.
I was interested, yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Just in the hospitality industry in general, or?
Yeah, that's it. I would love to do something like that.
Okay. How about you, Robert?
I also work for Realm. I got this email a few weeks ago, and so hospitality is always something that's interested me, especially ever after watching Hotel Budapest, I guess. Silly reason, but I've spent enough time in hotels. It's a fascinating industry. And yeah, I work for Realm as a IT specialist or a system specialist. And yeah,
Cool.
here in Cranbrook.
And Blaine.
Hello, my name is Blaine. I'm a program and innovation specialist at Chrysalis. So we have mentorability is part of a offering of virtual content that we're providing right now called Job Talks on a virtual calendar. So we have a number of other things that are on our calendar as well. So I'm just here to, I guess, represent Chrysalis, see if anybody, from our service was joining in. They haven't today, but I'm happy to hear from you anyway.
Cool. Are you Chrysalis here in Calgary or
Edmonton.
Edmonton? Okay. Cool. Okay, so did you want to start your presentation, Janet, or?
Yeah, sorry, can I just ask a couple of questions first? Has anybody worked in a hotel before, or any work experience? No? In a hotel? No? Good. Okay, that's good. But has anyone stayed in a hotel? Yes, Blaine has, Robert has, Linda has. Okay, perfect. All righty. So the hotel, is anybody familiar with where I work, the Fairmont Palliser in Calgary? Yeah? Okay. So that hotel, Palliser, has been around for 107 years. It is a landmark in the city of Calgary. It opened its doors June 1st, 1914. So it's been around a very long time and really is in the heart of the city of Calgary, and is very much part of the Calgary community for sure. There's a lot of employees there who've worked there for many years. Of course, when you have a building that's been around that long, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot of employees who've been working there for many years. So 107 years old, in the heart of downtown Calgary, major Calgary hotel, one of the main ones in the city. It has 407 bedrooms. 407 bedrooms. So that's it's the second largest hotel in the city. And each hotel has a classification, and they call the Palliser luxury accommodation. So that just speaks to really the level of service and the amenities that it has. And so it's in the luxury category. And it's part of a larger hotel company. Fairmont is the brand. So that's just the brand. And then the company that it belongs to is a company out of Paris, France. Head office is Paris, France. It's called Accor, A-C-C-O-R. And Accor has over 20 brands, so different hotel companies, and all over the world. So in all continents, and many in Europe, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, you name it, we have hotels all over the world. But my responsibility really is just primarily for the Fairmont Palliser in downtown Calgary. So my role as talent and culture director, responsible for human resources, really is specifically for the Fairmont Palliser Hotel. So that's just a little bit about the company. The industry, the hotel industry, obviously is it's a part of the hospitality industry. It's really depending on where the hotel is located, typically determines who the guests that stay at that hotel are. So for example, if it was a hotel that was situated in Banff, which is in the heart of the Rockies, we have a hotel there called the Banff Springs. That's a resort area. And so the guests that would typically stay there are tourists, visitors, right? But in the Palliser, it's a downtown hotel in the heart of the city. And Calgary really isn't a destination, a tourist destination. So the majority of our visitors or guests are not tourists necessarily, but they're more business here for some kind of reason other than pleasure. Most of the time it's work related or has to do with some kind of profession. And so why I bring that up is because how we service them, how we look after them in a hotel and meet their needs is very different depending on what kind of guest they are. So a tourist guest staying at a resort property has all the time in the world, wants to know everything about the location, and really wants to, enjoy the scenery and the hotel. Whereas a guest who stays at the Palliser, if they're here on business, for example, they're away from home, they're here for a specific reason, their time is measured and calculated, and they want a very efficient experience with us. Typically they want prompt service, they want quick service, they want in and out, they want punctual, they don't have time for chit chat necessarily, or if they do, they'll let us know that they do. And so how we service them as an employee then is very different depending on the nature of their stay. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. And the reason I bring that up is because that's very important. When you work there, you need to understand who your guest is, why they're there, so you can better accommodate and meet their needs. Because if you don't, it would be a better experience for the employee and a better experience for the guest once you understand that. Because then you can anticipate their needs, you can understand them better, and you can really just be more proactive in terms of providing for their stay. So the way the hotel is broken up in terms of jobs is there's really three main divisions, I guess I could call it. The biggest division, the most meaningful, why we're there obviously, is the accommodation side, the bedroom side, the rooms, what we call the rooms division. And what departments come under the rooms division obviously would be the front desk, where the guest checks in and checks out from, what we call guest services, where the bellman and the doorman work from, that's their department. Housekeeping, obviously, because it's a very important department, because the cleanliness and the experience around the bedroom is very important. And those positions are room attendants and then supervisors in housekeeping. Reservations, obviously making reservations, that's how it all begins. When a guest wants to stay, they need to make a reservation so we know to expect them and make their stay more efficient. And those would be primarily what we call the rooms division. The next major division is food and beverage. And the food and beverage consists of departments like the restaurant, and most hotels have a restaurant. In-room dining, which is what room service is. It's now called in-room dining. And so that's when a guest wants a meal delivered to their room. The kitchen, where it all begins, where the food preparation all takes place. The pastry shop, obviously, where desserts are produced from that we serve. And the dishwashing area, which we call stewarding, the stewards. And those are that's the department that obviously is very involved in the cleanliness of the dishes and so on, but also is responsible for ensuring that we have enough plates and we have enough pots and we have enough cutlery and we have enough glasses, and that we have all those things in store. And when we need them, they need to tell us so that we can go out and buy them. And they look after the pot washing and the dishwashing, and that's called the stewarding department. That's another very important department. And then the other food and beverage department we have is what we call banquets. And banquets is when there is a meeting or a dinner in one of the meeting rooms, then the banquet team is responsible for serving and preparing and prepping and setting up the banquet room. So those are the departments that consist of what we call food and beverage division. The next major division in the hotel is what we call the administration departments. And the administration departments are of service and a resource to the food and beverage and the rooms departments. Some departments under the administration is my department, for example, HR, Human Resources Department, is a resource department to the rest of the hotel, right? If the front desk needs a front desk agent, they need to come down and tell me so that I can hire for them a front desk agent, because I'm supporting and providing the service to them. Accounting department is another one. Of course, everybody needs to get paid, and the money needs to get counted, and the money needs to get deposited. And so we need an accounting department to look after that. And so that comes under the administration department, and they provide a support and a resource to the rest of the hotel. Technology, of course, we need to make sure everything works from a computer perspective. And so we have a systems manager who is there to help us when we have system and computer issues and challenges. Sales department. How else do we bring in the business if we don't have somebody going out and selling the hotel and bringing the business in? So they're in charge of going out there and selling the Fairmont Palliser Hotel, selling it, sharing with them the rates and all the packages that we have, the promotions that we do, all the things that generate revenue into the hotel. And so that's the sales department. The catering department does the exact same thing. They go out and sell the hotel, but they do that from a meeting room perspective. So if someone was having a wedding at the Palliser or a meeting of some sort coming to town, and it was large enough that it needed to go in one of our meeting rooms, then that event needs to be booked. And so that's what the catering team does. So that primarily covers all the departments, the major departments in the hotel, and the responsibilities and function for each. Now, of course, when you have a major event like a pandemic that's just happened over the last, I guess, 13, 14 months, it's had a very negative effect on the travel business, obviously, on hospitality, and of course, the hotel business, and primarily where I work, the Fairmont Palliser. Because there is no reason for anyone to come to town, because we can't, because of the restrictions. So obviously our business has been significantly impacted as a result of what's going on in the world, as has many other industries, obviously. But we will come out of it, and one day we'll get back on track, and we will, when they open the borders and they allow us to travel and the restrictions ease up, then of course business will come back, and we will be back to where we were, or almost there, when the time comes. Cal asked me some questions to speak to in terms of, what do we look for when we hire people for the hotel business? In terms of what are the skills needed? What are some of the personality traits that we look for when we hire? And so many of you if you've worked in a service industry, or you've worked to providing a service or to others, to people, you know that really what is needed is the ability to obviously provide a service and provide that genuine experience to a customer or a guest. And that's really what it's all about in our business too. It's really making that connection, making that pleasant experience for the guest or the customer. And in order to do that, you need to demonstrate such traits, such as having really a genuine need or ability to please the other person. So please the guest, please the customer. So desire to please. You need to be hardworking. It's not an easy business. It's challenging. There's time restraints, there's deadlines, there's customers who pay a lot of money to stay in the hotel, have high expectations. and as a result, they look for a product that is top notch and the service that goes with that. And so we look for people who can provide that ability through hard work, through genuine caring, demonstrating genuine caring, being reliable. Okay, see you, Blaine. Being reliable, just really wanting to make a difference and provide an experience to the guest and the customer. It's an interesting environment because a hotel is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we never close our doors, and we're always open to the public. And so what that means for an employee is that it's shift work. It means it's not a traditional Monday to Friday work week. It's 3 shifts, 3 different shifts a day. So you could be working what we call a morning shift, or it could be an afternoon shift, or it could be an overnight shift. So one other thing we look for is people who are interested and willing to work shift work. And so some days you could be working a day shift, and then your schedule will say that the next week you're working afternoons, and the next week after that you could be working evenings, or over the course of a week it could be a combination of any of those shifts. So that's not for everybody, but there are advantages to that, because sometimes in a family situation, perhaps with young children that need childcare, one partner works during the day, the other parent works at night, and so you never really need childcare, and so that works out very well to be working in an environment that is shift work. So for some people it's not for them, but for others it works out very well. But it definitely is a reality in our environment because we are a 24/7 operation. The other piece too is a lot of times we have celebrations where for example, at Christmas time or Mother's Day, all these special events, people are interested in the community to come to the hotel to celebrate. So at Christmas time, for example, we're very busy. And on Christmas Day, a lot of people come to enjoy a meal in the restaurant on Christmas Day, and a lot of staff have to work. So they're not home with their families enjoying Christmas Day because they're at the hotel making Christmas meaningful for others. So the other reality of our business is that when many families are home celebrating, that people in our hotel industry are working. So Mother's Day is another big one. We just had that, where, it's a busy time for the hotel. Many staff have to work. They cannot be home with their families. And as a result, that is one of the sort of the considerations that needs to be made when working in a hotel environment. Now, some people think that's not a problem, and some people think that it's not for them, which is totally fine, but it is a reality within our environment. Any questions so far? Maybe I'll stop there. And if you have a question and want to put it in the chat, you're welcome to, or if you want to take yourself off mute and ask me any questions so far, I'm happy to answer.
Hey, Art. You might have to put your question in the chat because we still can't hear you.
Who's he answering to?
Donna was just saying she didn't have any questions.
Okay.
But what else is there that you have to do with these, like the dishes and stuff?
Yes.
Question?
Well,
That's like washing. That's what I'm trying to ask, like washing.
yeah, it's a very important job, that's for sure. And what it entails, obviously, is we have a machine that we put the dishes in, obviously, because the idea behind the dishwashing is the less handling of the dishes, especially when they come out, the better. And what I mean by handling is physically touching the plates once they're clean. So obviously they're loaded into the machine, and we have all the appropriate tools and equipment to do that. And then they come out, and they come out in bins ready to just be basically put away. They come out, they go in dirty, they get washed, rinsed, and come out dry. And of course, the sanitation piece is very important. So the equipment is all, and the detergents and so on are all the right ones to be used to sanitize, all the dishes. We also have machines, or actually individuals, not even machines, that do the large pots. And we call those individuals pot washers. And so they're responsible for washing, cleaning all the large pots that are used in the kitchen and are used in the pastry shop. And it's hard work, and it's not an easy task, because it never seems to end. The number of dirty dishes and pots seem to be growing instead of getting less the harder you work to get them done. But there's great satisfaction in getting them cleaned, right, and getting them ready for use. So truly, it's a very satisfying work, but it is difficult, and and you're on your feet all day, right? You're actually standing at a sink or in front of a dishwashing machine all day long. And so working with water and detergents and all these things that are important, but very important work for sure. And I have a great deal of respect for our team that does that. Great question. Thank you.
Hey, Eric, are you able to type the question into the chat, or? If not, Steph, you can always email us back afterwards, or we can contact you with any questions and then forward those on to Janet, and then she'll actually respond back as well. So, yeah. Any other questions, guys? How do, maybe Janet and stuff, like when you handle people's resumes, does it come to you directly? Maybe what do you look for in a person's resume and stuff that they can highlight maybe their interests? Let's say if individuals don't have a lot of experience in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Maybe what can they do to highlight that on their resume?
Yeah, that's a good point, Cal. Thanks for bringing that up. So obviously, the way we collect resumes today is very different than the way it used to be. It's all done online now. We have a website, and we post positions. So when vacancies occur, then we post the position. So we actually advertise it on our website. And so when it's posted, it's got the description of the job, what the duties are, and what the qualifications are for the job. And it's quite detailed. And so if one is interested, then they upload their resume, upload a covering letter, and then we go in on a daily basis. We go into the system and we review the resumes that come in. And we review them for things like, and it's a very important process. It's a very important piece to being considered for a job. Some of the things we look for, obviously, is a resume that is easy to read, thorough, so has all the relevant information in terms of work experience and qualifications. No errors, no typos, no errors in dates or information missing. Because really, that's the only thing we use to help us narrow down who we end up interviewing for the job. And we get hundreds of resumes And so it becomes very important that the resume is as complete and easy to read, accurate, and gives us the information that we need to be able to make a decision as to whether that's the individual we want to speak to about the job. And we don't spend a lot of time on each resume. And it's not that we don't care, it's because we don't have that much time to spend a lot of time on each resume. And so that's why it needs to be concise, it needs to be accurate, it needs to be, just the relevant details for us to look at in order to make a decision as to whether we're interested in interviewing the individual. If we do interview, then obviously that's done through a phone call, pre-screen, what we call a pre-screen, and then under normal circumstances, non-pandemic times, we conduct an in-person interview. Now, what we look for, obviously, when we're screening, it depends on what the position involves or requires. But most importantly, what we look for, because we're in the hospitality business, we don't necessarily look for experience, although in most cases experience is important. We look for individuals who have the personality, traits that I mentioned earlier. The individuals whose sincere desire it is to please and provide a service to others. An individual who truly gets energized and excited about being helpful, whether it's to a guest or to a coworker. An individual who really gets off on and gets jazzed up with, just really helping others and providing a memorable experience to others, because that's really the type of business we're in. We can teach pretty much anything. We can teach someone to wash dishes. We can teach someone to check a guest in. We can teach someone to clean a room. Those are just things that, with training can be taught. But you can't teach someone to smile. You can't teach someone to be caring or, have a desire to provide a service or a pleasant experience. Those are things that are either part of you or not. And so really that's what we look for. And the way we do that is when you apply, we have a tool that we use. It's kind of like a questionnaire. We call it an assessment. And it's a series of questions that we ask to find out a little bit more about you. And it's in finding out a little bit more about you, in addition to the resume, that helps us determine whether you're a right fit for the role or not. Because the most important thing is, if we determine that there's a fit between you and the role, then you'll be successful. You'll do a good job and it'll be a good match. Otherwise, if we're trying to make something work that isn't going to work, it's not going to be good for the employee and it's not going to be good for the hotel. So that's where it's really important that prior to hiring, we go through all these steps to make sure that we're hiring the right person for the job, in addition to the experience, but most importantly, that the fit is there through the questions that we ask.
What about, you mentioned some of the steps that people can take to get in there, like with their resumes and cover letters. Do you guys if people are coming, let's say, from other programs, either whether it be in Cranbrook or whether it be Calgary or Edmonton, those type of things, wherever it might be, do you guys actually work with some of the community agencies and stuff as well, with having people come in and maybe do a job shadow? Or so if they are interested, let's say with the mentorability program, so if somebody like Eric or Donna or Robert want to see what it's like and stuff, they can actually fill out a mentorability application and maybe what the position is. So, and then we would actually try to facilitate that if the opportunities arise. You guys are open to that type of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to know what the different jobs are and what the requirements for each job are. And one of the ways to do that is to do an on-site sort of visit or shadowing to see exactly what the job entails, what's involved. It doesn't sound like it's the right fit. What are the duties? What are the physical requirements? Is it standing all day? Is it standing and sitting? Does it involve lifting, pushing, pulling? I mean, there's lots of aspects around each of these positions, and each one is different. There's so many different jobs. There's about, 30, 40 different positions in the hotel in different departments. And each one is very different in terms of what the responsibilities are and what the physical aspects of the job are and how much, what the physical demands are. And so it's important that one knows what the job is and if that's suitable for them. And we do assessments and we do shadowing opportunities. Now, the last year and a half, I have to say, we haven't been doing a lot of that because of the pandemic. So these are extraordinary times, obviously. But under normal circumstances, yes, it's very important that there's a sincere understanding of what the role entails.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's probably really important as well that when individuals are looking at careers in the hospitality industry, it's just not to just say that you want to work in a hotel, but you need to identify, let's say, certain positions of interest, those type of things. So like Donna was mentioning stuff, dishwashing, those type of things. I mean, that's a specific one, rather than just saying that you want to work in the hospitality industry, because there is, like you said, the food services, banquets, those type of things as well. So try to be really specific when you're gearing either your cover letter, your resumes, or your applications form, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I wanted to mention one other thing. It's very easy these days to do research because you can do a lot of that online now, right? You can research, you can go on the computer and you can Google different jobs and see what they are. You can Google different restaurants, hotels. There's so much research you can do ahead of time now at your fingertips. Basically, any question that you have, you can pretty much just put into the computer and it pretty much tells you what you need to know. So back in the day, of course, we didn't have access to all that. It involved a lot of, walking around and visiting and checking it out and asking questions and getting on the phone, talking to people. But nowadays, I encourage you to do as much research online, both of a company or of an industry, or of a job, and to see if it's a good fit, if it's something that interests you, if it's something that gets you excited and passionate about. Because if it does, then you're going to do well at it. It's not going to feel like work.
Yeah.
But if it's something you don't like and something that would be just not something that you're interested in, if you do it, it's going to feel awfully hard to do. And you're probably not going to do that well at it because you're not that excited about it. So the most important thing is to find a position or an opportunity or a company that is aligned with what you like to do and what makes you feel good, and then you'll do well. And the reason I've been where I've been for as long as I have is because there's a fit there, because there's an alignment. It doesn't feel like work after all these years. It feels good. It gets me up in the morning. It gets me excited, and that's what you want, right? And so that's not always easy to find. You have to sometimes go through a lot of different opportunities to get there. But there is the right one for everybody. It's just a matter of doing the research, asking the questions, and then exploring the opportunities.
Anybody else have any other questions? I might have one other one for you, Janet, stuff as well, that with being an equal opportunity employer, and if you have individuals who have disabilities or some sort of barriers towards employment, would you encourage them to self-disclose on their application or on their resume or during the interview at some point that they do have a disability? Or would
Yeah.
need some sort of accommodation?
One of the questions we ask is, in an interview, do you have any physical limitations that would prevent you from performing the physical aspects of this job? And the reason we ask that is because we want to make sure the environment is safe and it doesn't put anyone in harm, right? We don't want to injure anyone. We don't want anyone to get hurt doing something that they physically can't do. And it's important for us to know. It's important for us to know that.
Yep.
To make sure that we can accommodate any kind of restrictions or disabilities that one has. And so the question is related to the position that we're interviewing or considering the person for, from a safety perspective, because our goal is to provide an environment that is safe for everyone.
Yep. So any other questions, guys? Donna, Eric, we'll follow up with you afterwards, Eric, and stuff, and see if we can get your questions answered for you. Unfortunately, and stuff, we won't be able to hear you today. Robert, any questions?
No, not anything that I can think of for you, Janet. It's a bit different in Cranbrook when I think of questions I might ask, because it's more specific to the particular hotel or company, and we don't have any Accor properties.
No.
But it has been wonderful. Thank you.
But a hotel, I mean, a hotel is a hotel, right? It's the product is the bedrooms, the accommodation side of things. That's where a hotel makes, you know, its money and is the main purpose. The restaurant and all these other things are, and the pool or whatever, are just simply for added enjoyment when one is staying at a hotel, right? And you know, Cranbrook is a beautiful spot, and most people that are there, I would think, staying in a hotel are tourists, visitors to the area, right? And it's important that they're provided with a clean bedroom and clean bed and fresh sheets and all these things that are the same thing that we do at a hotel like mine, right? And the point is still the same, regardless of small town or big city. It's those connections you make and the experience that you provide of the guest when they leave that impresses them. You know, it's the memory. It's the, boy, when I was in Cranbrook and I stayed at hotel whatever, the staff were so nice. You know, the person that checked me in was so friendly and asked me, you know, if I had a good trip. And so it's those things that make the experience, those things that we look for when we hire people, because that's what makes the difference when people stay with us. And if they leave feeling good about their experience, guess what happens? They come back. They come back to the hotel the next time they have the opportunity. And they go home and they tell their friends to come and stay with us, right? So it's that loyalty piece that is really important, that brings the business, which makes us profitable at the end of the day, right? You got to have loyalty to make sure people come back. Keep your doors open, because that's who pays the bills, right? The company doesn't pay me. It's the guests who stay at the hotel that pay, you know, every 2 weeks, the money comes from them, right? So it's really important that we keep them coming back. And they will. If you provide the experience they're looking for and the memorable stay, they will come back. They will be loyal for sure. And if they feel there's value there for the money that they paid and the experience they got, they'll come back. And that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all this. And
No.
your property is beautiful. It's definitely a landmark of Calgary.
Yeah, it is. And you know, it's a beautiful building and a beautiful lobby, and it's just very sad right now because it's so quiet, right? With all the restrictions currently in place, it's not very busy, and it's kind of sad to see it so quiet. But for all the right reasons, because we have to be safe and we have to follow the restrictions so we can move on from this. So that we'll get back there one day.
Yeah.
We just have to weather this little storm.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guys. So last chance for questions.
Well, good luck to you all. I know you're. Thank you for participating in this and being interested enough to listen, because it's through this kind of conversation that you learn about what might be of interest and what opportunities are out there and where you might fit in to that. So that's important, right?
Sounds great. Okay, so I think with that, we'll wrap up, guys. And thanks for joining in, stuff from Cranbrook and stuff as well. Great to see you guys. And hopefully you come to some of the other mental ability sessions that we do have. So, thanks. Talk to you later.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Stay
Thanks,
safe.
Janet.
All right. See you, Linda. See you, Cal.
Yep. See you later.
Oh, Cal.
Yep. Actually, you know what I might do instead, because I might just give you a call right after.
Yeah, call me. Okay.
We'll end this and then I'll give you a call right away.
Okay. No problem.
Thanks. Bye.